Hello and welcome back to the Sideboard here at the Star City Games Invitational in Atlanta, Georgia. I am joined by Travis Wu. Travis, thank you so much for joining me.
Thank you for having me on, Ruben.
And you're playing a pretty stock Reanimator list. No, I'm kidding. We're not.
Yeah. Never that. Not from me.
Not from Travis Wu. We're never going to see the most popular deck in the room from Travis Wu.
I mean, I aspire, one day. That's
one
when I know I
day
made
to
it.
make
Right?
this
Yeah, exactly.
to the most popular.
Yeah.
But we have certainly we have a Wu brew here.
Yes.
Now, does this have a name?
It's been changing constantly because I've been changing the win condition around. I'm just calling it Fog Door the Burninator.
Fog Door.
Shout
the
out to
Burninator.
Homestar Runner. I don't know if
There
any
you
of you guys catch that reference, but
I like it. So
that's what it's at
basically,
right
the
now.
central interaction in this deck is basically all you want to do. You have one door to nothing.
I have one door. I'm super naked. That's it.
And we are in Atlanta, and the Final Four is here this weekend. Yeah. Survive and Advance is the name of the game.
Survive and Advance.
Just cast Fog, cast Wrath, and survive until you can win.
Pretty much. I mean, it's a really a metagame deck. A lot of the creature decks just can't deal with Fog. If you can play it every turn, starting on turn 4 or 5, until the game ends.
Right.
Just like the draw is so busted. Urban Evolution is awesome with Fog. Urban
Right.
draw 3 land. Fog,
Right. So
next
you
turn,
can
Sphinxes.
even if you're accelerating, a lot of the times if you're drawing cards with things like Jace's Ingenuity style cards.
Sure, yeah.
You're not going to be able to play the Fog, but Urban Evolution allows you to draw your
Yeah,
cards
it's messed
and
up.
make the
It's
one
messed
draw.
up.
Yeah.
It's like a match made in heaven. They're designed
Exactly.
for each other.
And so you're playing Snapcaster Mage
Yes.
in addition because you're often drawing one Fog and this just acts as another one.
Snapcaster Mage is really the glue of the deck. Like, I see people playing decks similar to this, and they don't play Snapcaster. I don't know what they're doing. Honestly.
Sure.
It's Fogs 5 through, 5 through 7?
Through 7, yeah.
Yeah, so that just gives you a lot more Fogs. But against control decks, it's an extra Negate, it's an extra Rakdos Return, it's an extra Sphinx. Sometimes you play it for increasing. Sometimes you go turn 2 Farseek, turn 3 Snap Farseek. And the way the deck works, I don't want to play 8 Fogs because I want to have game against the blue decks.
Right.
I want to have the minimum amount necessary for each deck. And then Snapcaster just gives me redundancy for any matchup. I just get to shift rules. With increasing, I can find my one-ofs and double up on them. So Snapcaster really makes the deck work.
Now, the Fog plan is the central part of the deck to keep you alive. You've also got the 8-mana acceleration spells and Chromatic Lantern and Farseek.
And I have the 3 sweeps as well.
The 3
which are
sweepers
helpful.
for mostly for the control style decks to be able to, once you're done fogging, to be able to get rid of the creatures. And you've got increasing ambition to be able to find your one of door to nothingness. Now, sorry, go ahead.
The increasing does a lot of things. It's more Fogs.
Sure.
It's 6 mana.
Fog.
Grab a Fog, play it. Get to 8 mana. Flash it back, grab a land, grab a Fog. It's just it's a lot more Fogs. And it gets my singletons when I'm ready to finish them.
Right. Now, this deck is a lot less, shall we say, fanciful than a lot of your decks that you've been streaming recently, where they have things like Enter the Infinite, or older decks of yours that have Bristlebrand.
Yeah.
You have the one win condition.
I have to credit actually Michael Hetrick, and I also want to credit Brandon Nelson. Last night in the room we were staying up, and he's like, I know you like having 3 cards. What if you have 59 cards that just stall and 1 card that wins? Is that possible? And we got to thinking, and with Alchemist Refuge and Door, in game 1s, no one has any way to kill that, Aesthetic Slime, Restoration Angel, or whatever. I can just stall out for forever and then wait for them to concede. Or I'm thinking in the feature match, if I get here, right, if they put me out there, I like the idea of, if the game goes super long and I don't want to expose my door and even let them know I have it,
just Rakdos return for 10 and then flash it back for 10.
Or just wait and then do it for the full 20.
Sure.
I can do that.
Fair enough.
Yeah.
You do have enough mana sources to be able to do that.
And that conceals information, but it's really an excuse to show off if I get a chance.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Now, speaking of the sideboard, because after sideboard people are going to have acidic slime or what have you, Python Needle is a problem. You have another couple ways to win the game.
Yes.
We have a whole top line of big, heavy hitters. We have another Rakdos return for the control decks. But Jace, Vraska, and Borborygmos.
Yeah. I like Borborygmos, whatever you want to call him.
Sure.
He's a big man. I want a creature, no one's going to have creature removal against me. The only creature removal I'll see is Liliana and maybe Detention Sphere, right? But I could play a Gristlebrand in this slot. It draws me 7 cards that don't kill them.
Sure.
But Borborygmos is actually a threat that will just kill them. I have 27 lands and so many ways to draw cards.
Yep.
I had a game online the other night where I had 8 cards and 8 mana, and I had a Borgbrigmas and 7 lands. I'm like, oh, I'm really flooded. Take 21.
Right.
Whoops.
Exactly.
Yeah.
And you've got a couple other win conditions for the control matchups, Psychic Spiral and Jace Memory
Jace
Adept.
and
Psychic Spiral actually for opposing Jaces a lot of the time when you've got your Snapcaster.
I've got the
mage in hand.
Snapcasters, so like one thing I really like about this deck is I love my blue matches. I like my blue matches more than I like my aggro matches, especially after sideboard, and that's because I don't actually have that many dead cards, and I got a really nice sideboard plan of bringing more threats and a bunch of counter magic and stuff. I don't necessarily need this to resolve, and I just have so much more mana that they can't really afford to fight me on the counters, like on the card draws, or I just play more and more and more. Eventually I stick something. So like, I like the package and the combination that Snapcaster Mage works with them just makes my control matchups something that I enjoy facing.
Nice. And so this is you're obviously playing this in the Invitational.
Yeah.
You would suggest this going forward?
Definitely. I definitely suggest this going forward. We'll have to see how the metagame develops. Like if something like, if Blue-White Red with Counterflux gets really popular, we might need another thing in the main to deal with that. But that's only game 1. Like something to think about is the fragility of the door. Right now, if you really need to protect it, you can return them with negate backup and the door with Snapcaster negate backup, which should be enough for most decks, but it's something to keep in mind. I might need a second something at some point, but
Sure.
Right now 1 is plenty.
Fair enough. So 59 cards
And
to
a door
get
to
you through the
nothingness.
door.
Yes,
Exactly.
basically.
And yeah, this looks like a ton of fun. I mean, all your decks are, obviously.
I mean, I love playing it. I'm having a ton of fun. For those of you guys, and I should have said this at the beginning, for those of you guys who made it this far, who are like, this is a sweet deck. Is it playable? I'm gonna check the standings, see how he's doing. I went 2-2 in Legacy, which is not great. You know, I'm just trying to stay alive to get a standard. So if you see a couple losses, that's
where
the
we're
reason
at.
why. Yeah.
Yeah, absolutely. And I look forward to seeing this on camera. Maybe we can get that Rakdos return. To
Yeah, if I can, I need to get some wins though. I need to like recover
Sure.
from Legacy, and then I'll get there.
Well, good luck. We look forward to
All
it.
right,
Thank you so
Ruben.
much.